Hello everyone, this is James Shore with another test-driven JavaScript video. I'm recording this on October 29th, 2012. It's been about a week and a half since I last recorded. And what we're working on here is we are getting our some basic testing of our client-side DOM working. So we have WeWikiPaint here, and our intention is to create a drawing area on the page. That's the story we're working on right now, is just getting an empty drawing area on the page. And of course, we want to do that test driven. So that's our user story. And the specific task we're working on right now is a basic test of the DOM. And we actually have that. And the DOM, of course, is the document object model. That is the underlying data structure that represents all your HTML and other elements on the page. So right now we have the ability to get an element out of the page and make assertions about it. And in our production code, we are creating that element and setting attributes on it. And that's all working. If we run our client-side tests, we can see that working. And of course, as I've mentioned before, that's running on all of our many browsers. And it's working great except for IE. Of course, it's working great except for IE. So that's the next thing to fix. But you know, I think maybe we don't need to worry about it. Now, what we're doing here is we've got our client-side test running against production code, but our production code's acting a little weird. We're saying we want this production to code to run after the document loads. We're using jQuery here, and this is the way in jQuery you say run this function after everything's ready to go. The problem is, or the thing is that's actually not how you do test-driven development. The way you do test-driven development is you run in a function and then you make some assertions about what that function did. So I think we can sidestep this whole problem of the window not loading on IE by just calling a function. Let's do that. So we're going to need some sort of global setup. And I think we're going to want to have a global called WeWikiPaint. And we can just put that as nothing for now. Well, actually, let's do this test driven. So what we should say is, okay, so what I'm thinking here is we want to actually run a function inside of client.js, and we can't require on the client side. So instead, we just need to have it load. And I guess what we want to do is do something like that, create element. Now, in the future, we're going to need to start looking at our design and how everything fits together. But for now, I think we can just put something in here. There's going to be lots of opportunities to fix it. So if we say WeWikiPaint.createElement, and then, of course, we're going to need to say that that's a global. And then here, we define that function. Will that work? I hope so. I'm a little rusty on some of these basics. Let's see. Well, let's run that test. No, it really doesn't work. It would help if I fix my syntax error. Okay, let's try that again. Okay. All right, so there we go. Now we're seeing everything say that the window loaded, and we're seeing all of our tests pass. So I took out that window loaded. It wasn't necessary anymore. All of our tests are passing. So awesome. Awesome. That is really the basics of doing DOM testing. We create an element, or we call our production code, and then we make assertions about it. Now, so that's the first part. So actually, I think we should check this in. Okay. So now what I'd like to do is get our whole build working. Right now, our lint is failing. It doesn't like our WeWikiPaint global. Right there, it said that that was read-only. I think what we have to do is say that give it a true flag to say that it can be written to. Okay, there we go. Now our whole build is passing. Let's just go ahead and amend our previous commit. So now we've got it all working. Good. Everything's working there. So we've got a basic DOM test working. We've done that. Okay, yeah, so let's go ahead and create the drawing area. And the way I think we're going to do that is, well, we'll just TDD the drawing area. Okay, what I'd like to do here, so we've got, let's see, so where's our content? So here's our home page. And it's a very simple little thing. It's got this, it's all in one page. We've got our div here. Let's go ahead and tell this to wrap. What we're going to want to have here is probably a new section and with a div in it that is our drawing area or something like that. That's what I'm thinking. And then drawing area goes here. That's what I'm imagining for this site. So some sort of drawing area here. Now the trick is when you're doing TDD, or really programming in general, you don't want to have changes to one part of the system break other parts of the system. And in my mind, the layout of this home page should be independent of the actual programming we're doing on how the drawing stuff works. So in other words, I want to be able to put this here, or I want to be able to put it up here, or maybe it's something floating to the right. I want us to be able to do whatever we want in terms of the home page and still have the drawing area work. I want the layout and the programming to be completely separated. So what that means is, I think we just want to say something like, there is going to be a certain div on the page with a certain ID, or maybe even a certain class, but we can start out with a certain ID. And that is going to just work. So to put it another way, what I want to do is I want to describe our drawing area should be created, should be initialized in predefined div. So what we need to have happen here is we need to create the div that's going to be assumed to be in our home page. We need to initialize it, and then we need to, and that's going to be production code. And then we need to verify it was initialized correctly. So that's how this is going to work. So first thing to do is to create that div. And I'm going to start out by just grabbing this code here. So we're going to create an element, a div element. Let's name it WeWikiPaint drawing area. And then we'll append it. And then we'll have our production code run. And let's say initialize drawing area will be the name of that. And then we'll verify that it was initialized correctly. So what we want to do is we're going to want to look at our div and assert something about it. And I'm not sure what we want to assert just yet. I'm thinking we'll use Raphael, which is a cross-platform SVG vector drawing library for JavaScript. And I guess what we want to do is confirm that it's actually Raphael. But to start with, let's just assert that it exists. We'll expect extracted div to, let's see. It doesn't look like there's anything that can say if it exists, but I think we can just say to be okay. And that checks to see if it's truthy. That is to say, not 0 or null or undefined. And then let's test that. And that's failing all over the place, probably because initialized drawing area doesn't exist. Okay. We got some sort of unspecified error from IE8. That should have worked, actually. I don't know why it didn't. Let me just try running it again. Huh. How strange. Okay, that is really throwing me for a loop. But that is all the time we have. So I guess I'll investigate this before recording the next video, and we'll come back to that. What we're doing here is we're just getting some basic, we're getting started on actually testing whether or not the DOM object is being created correctly. Next time we're going to pick up with that. We'll get some Raphael in here. And then I think that will get us to the end of this chapter. Once we get an empty canvas in here, we'll be done with the story and be able to move on to the next thing. Thanks for watching, everybody. I will catch you next time.